Good morning, and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News. Well, good morning, and welcome to Unfiltered, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. I do apologize for any lags in the internet. I am new to this internet service. It doesn't do well, as far as, in my opinion, when I'm playing my videos, right? It either speeds up or it slows down really bad, but it has great upload and download speeds. I mean, that's good, but I need it for more than that, obviously, for what we're doing. We're gonna be doing, shorter shows, going into the holiday and then after, and then hopefully we will pick back up to the 2-hour mark, but right now we're gonna stay roughly about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. We'll see. And assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Atif. He is joining us from the Indies. So thank you so much for joining us this morning here on Unfiltered Vision News. So we're going to start with our trending topics on X. We'll see how this works, right? If there's too many delays. But we've got three subjects here. House hearings accuse the SPLC, which is the Southern Poverty Law Center, on manufacturing hate for profit. And I don't know if you guys oh, he says, please reply with my salam. And how are you? I'm doing great today. Thank you so much again for joining us here. So, House hearing on the SPLCU of manufacturing hate for profit, a Minneapolis daycare owner charged with 5 million fraud scheme, and Trump endorsement sweeps 37 and 0 in 6 state primaries, toppling Massey. Now, I know in the Massey's instance, yes, he is not going to be the GOP nominee for Kentucky. But it's kind of interesting. It says 37 and 0 sweep. So I'm like, okay, so there were some other areas. Now, in Georgia in particular, we've got two primary runoffs that are going to be happening on June 16th, and that's going to be for the Senate seat, the federal Senate seat, and also for the governor's seat and nomination. So we got to go back out and vote again if you voted in the for a Republican in this past primary. So now this primary coming up, let's just say you voted Democrat in the primary, you can't vote for a Republican in this primary. That if that makes sense. So you can't vote again. But if you voted Republican in the last primary, then you can vote. So not everyone will be going to the polls. It'll namely be people that voted in the primary and then other people that are registered Republican and didn't vote, right? They didn't vote in the initial primary. They will have the ability to vote. So yeah, it sometimes gets confusing, but it is what it is. Now, for the housing hearing, the House hearing. So on May 20th, the House Judiciary Committee held a hearing titled The Seven Partly Law Center Manufacturing Hate, where Republicans accused the nonprofit of smearing conservatives as hate groups, misleading donors, and fueling extremism amid a federal indictment for wire fraud and money laundering. Witnesses like Taylor O'Neill and Carol Swain testified that the SPLC shifted from tracking violent extremists to labeling mainstream groups while building a $700 million endowment and paying field sources. Some extremists themselves, Democrats led by Jamie Raskin and Jasmine Crockett, called it a partisan sham, defending the SPLC's monitoring work and pressed Republicans on white supremacist threats and voter ID comparisons to poll taxes. Okay, see, here's what's weird. They literally and they've been found guilty. It's not like there isn't evidence showing that they manufactured these incidences and then turned around and blamed groups for saying they you did this. I was like, huh? You hired people to go into these groups and manufacture this stuff. You hired people to do that, to make it look like these groups were racist groups when they're not. Because here's my thing, everything's been shut down. Where's all the racist activity? Where is it? Where is it? See, the thing about racism is that it has to be an act, a physical act. It is a verb, not assault. It's a verb. And a lot of people want to make racism verbal. Okay, I guess if you say you want to unalive a particular set of individuals, but you still can't call that racism. That's threatening behavior. You literally threaten to unalive them. Okay, that's a direct threat. Now, Wesley Hunt said, "My father grew up in a segregated South. He had to work. He had to walk around the back of a restaurant just to order a sandwich because he was black. That was Jim Crow. Not showing a photo ID to vote. You need that ID to board a plane, cash a check, buy alcohol, enter federal vote. Exactly. Exactly. But they wanna make it seem like white supremacy. Stop that. Nobody's stopping anybody from getting an ID. Nobody's stopping anyone from voting. You just have to be here and be a citizen, a naturalized citizen in order to vote. You can't just come here on a visa and vote. You cannot come here illegally and vote in our elections. It doesn't work that way. You are under a different national jurisdiction. Okay, let's get into it. And that's correct. And that's all they do. Because they really have not come up with any policies that have helped American citizens. I want to say it definitely in the past 5 years. You help people from other countries get over here, get past our border. get benefits. You didn't help Americans, you helped them walk over Americans and get set up. And now you wanna cry foul? It's absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. I saw this and it kinda grinded my gears a little bit. Because she says Jasmine Crockett just torched Republicans for trying to hand January 6th extremist taxpayer money. That's a whole different situation. We might have to get into it tomorrow. We'll see. So Proud Boys are freaking white supremacists. Neo Nazis are too. This president, who loves to call a white supremacist, has decided they should be given like a form of reparations. Okay, where's ours? Where's ours, Jasmine? Stop complaining about what other people are getting and focus. I don't want to hear it. If you're not going to fix it, I don't want to hear it, ma'am. Fix it. If you think Black people, and not just melanated humans, I'm talking about the American Negro, I'm talking about people who were here pre 1776, like my family members, right? Because they were slaves. Why do I know this? Because my great 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 grandmother had to put a freedman on her marriage certificate. So that's how I know she was an emancipated slave. Okay. So if we're talking about that, and then we're talking about that lineage that had to come up through Jim Crow, that lineage that had to come up through redlining and everything else, and make the level playing field, fix it. Stop getting into everybody else's arguments and fix it. But oh no, you're doing exactly what Wesley just said. Okay, first of all, what she's talking about, if everybody was like, I'm losing my lunch over this, what is she talking about? Okay, the judgment fund is not taxpayer funds. It is actually a fund that was put together to settle federal issues. So we'll use the housing authority, for example. If you go and you can look this up, it's called the Judgment Fund, United States Judgment Fund. There have been cases against the housing authority. Instead of pulling it from tax dollars, right? It doesn't have a line item on the budget. They pulled that fund from the judgment fund and it pays whomever it needs to pay. It doesn't affect our tax dollars. Our tax dollars aren't there, meaning that if the federal government wanted to, they could erase everybody's debt tomorrow and make everyone a millionaire tomorrow, and it would never affect the budget if they used the judgment fund in that way. And I'm not wrong. Put it through Grok. Put it through any AI, what I just said, and it will come out exactly what I just said because I've done it. And I've studied this for years. Okay. She's conflating two issues. She's trying to say the SPLC, and they did manufacture these incidents. They manufactured them to make it look like white supremacy was just running rampant. when it wasn't. And then they used those incidents to collect money and funds. But those money and funds that she's not talking about partially went through certain parties and members of a particular party. Yeah. What Trump is doing is he's trying to settle a debt. Now, here's my thing. If he's successful at doing this with the J6ers, then yes, people can go back and actually use the judgment fund to give reparations. Thank you very much for setting the precedent if that's what we're going to do. Because see, Indian tribes already get money through the judgment fund. Like I said, just go look it up. But she's conflating something. She's not going to get the job done. She's missed performative theater. She is who she is. We're going to leave it there because I only have so much time. Okay. And then, of course, Minneapolis. These people are continuing to be charged. I can't even talk about it. And then we've got Trump at a 37-0 in the primaries. I wanted to see if there's anything going on all sides, and definitely check out allsides.com. And what they do is they have news from the left, the right, and the center, but it gives you a better lens at things that are biased and unbiased. So college students boo graduation speeches mentioning AI. They did. I saw the video and she was like, "Oh my, what did I do?" I was like, "Yeah, you came out here and you told these babies that they need to get on board with this synthetic intelligence. And it's us." Okay, let's just talk about it. How AI is an aggregation of human intelligence, right? And it's just regurgitating what, is already out there from humans. But to tell these babies that they have to go this way is wrong because there are a lot of things AI can't do. And I'm grateful for that because that reminds us that we're human. It really, really does. And the White House ballroom to feature 6-story underground facilities, impenetrable roof. Wow. Okay. Are we building a ballroom or a fortress? Like, what are we talking about? My goodness. It says, "Are Trump's Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool renovations ahead of or behind schedule?" I hope they're ahead of schedule because, man, if you've ever been to DC, it is a very interesting city. It looks like it could be so historic and beautiful, but then you turn the corner. I'm just saying. Just saying, just saying. Trump versus the IRS settlement exempts Trump from audits, establishes a $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund. This is going to be interesting because I know a lot of people are like, how could he sue himself and then profit off of it? Well, I want to say Obama didn't do the same thing, but what Obama's DOJ at the time, what he did was the TARP money. Remember when the housing crisis happened? Well, they looked at the banks that caused the problems, right? And they said, okay, you need to pay these fines and these fees. Well, because of the way they worded it, they didn't have to go through Congress, and those entities, those banks, right, those financial institutions paid the DOJ directly. The DOJ was then able to say, okay, we're not going to take the money. We want the money redirected to these organizations. So you did a bad thing. So now we want you to give these money to the organizations. And they were primarily, Democratic organizations that they gave billions of dollars to. But the taxpayers never saw a dime of it. And that's what those fines were supposed to be for. Yeah, that happened. You can look that up too. It all gets interesting, right? Trump endorses Ed Gallring, defeats Thomas Massey in a Kentucky GOP House primary. Look, Massey, if you got any gas in the tank and you want to run as a redemptionist and do this, sir, and go back, call me. USARedemptionParty.com. You need to continue to run. Because see, you were a thorn in the side to the Republican Party, and they had to get rid of you, right? Because there's certain people that don't want certain amounts of accountability, and it is what it is. Doesn't sound right. And I know a lot of people are like, "What? Whose side are you on?" I'm on the side of getting things done. Okay, this is why I started the Redemption Party to actually get some stuff done. Now, right now, I want to look at this video that came across. So a woman apparently was arrested for a Facebook post. Now this is weird. So let's check this out.
Arrested after posting health and safety concerns about a city's drinking water on Facebook. It happened in Trinidad in Henderson County, southeast of Dallas. People who live there say the tap water sometimes looks and smells unsafe. When one woman shared her take on Facebook, the police department arrested her, and now she's suing. Fox 4's David Centenary is live with more from that city. David.
Yeah, well, some city leaders say there are issues with the water system and that there has been for quite some time. However, one woman's claim posted to Facebook that the water is making some people sick led to her being arrested.
Did you ever expect something like that Facebook post could get you arrested?
Not at all.
A Facebook post made by Jennifer Combs, a wife, mother, and citizen journalist, led to her arrest by Trinidad Police Department on May 8th.
Did you have to spend the night in jail?
I did.
What was that like?
Horrifying. Absolutely horrifying.
And you've never even had a speeding ticket?
I have not ever had a speeding ticket. It was one of the most probably humiliating things I've ever went through in my entire life. It was very, very bad.
So what was the Facebook post about? The city's water supply.
The best way I could describe it is it looks like the Trinity River is flowing from their water taps.
The post from her page Southern Bell Watch reads, in part, "We have received reports that some citizens have been hospitalized due to bacteria in the water. This is a serious public health concern that deserves immediate attention. If your water looks discolored, contains sediment, has a strong odor, or you have experienced related health issues, please send us a message. We are gathering information and reporting findings to the state."
The police chief had screenshotted it and posted it on the Trinidad Police Department page.
The April 6th post by Trinidad Police calls what Combs wrote false information that creates fear, panic, or unnecessary emergency response within a community, eventually charging Combs with felony false alarm or report.
I feel like this is an extreme stretch.
So here inside Trinidad City Hall, the water looks clean, but some say it's a fluid situation depending on where you're at and when.
This is bathtub.
How would you describe the city's water situation right now?
The city's water situation is a struggle, without question.
Trinidad Mayor Dennis Hawes does not dispute that they have water issues.
A lot of this stuff is original pipes that were put in here in Trinidad in the 50s, probably. We have to get to a position where we can fix that infrastructure, and it's very expensive, as I'm sure you can imagine.
On Wednesday, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality confirmed to Fox 4 that it received a complaint regarding the water quality and an investigation is ongoing. It's unclear whether anyone has gotten sick from the water.
I've seen some Facebook posts where people have said they have gotten sick, but to me personally, I haven't heard anything.
In a post on May 10th, Trinidad Police Chief Charles Gregory doubled down on his decision to arrest Combs, calling the case cut and dry. He says claims citizens were hospitalized due to bacteria in the water are simply false and have only caused unnecessary fear and confusion in our community.
I really haven't seen anything like this before, David.
SMU constitutional law professor Dale Carpenter questions if a crime was committed and believes Combs' First Amendment rights may have been violated, even if it turns out Combs' post was inaccurate.
She's making a statement regarding a matter of great public interest, and so people sometimes make false statements on matters of great public interest, and they're allowed to do so. If we prosecuted and arrested everybody who made such claims, our jails would be overfilled.
Chief Gregory was not at Tuesday's council meeting, but the water issue was a topic of conversation.
The reason why everyone is here and the reason why Fox 4 is here is because your city is acting like tyrants.
Combs stands behind her post, and in a federal lawsuit filed Tuesday, she accuses the police chief of political retaliation related to her work as a citizen journalist. She claims multiple citizens made social media posts stating that they had personally been hospitalized or affected as a result of consuming the city's water.
I don't agree and don't think it's fair that the citizens pay for water they can't really use.
The lawsuit adds, speech about the safety of a community's drinking water is a quintessential matter of public concern entitled to the highest degree of First Amendment protection.
There's people saying that their appliances are getting ruined. They can't cook with the water. They can't bathe with it. They can't do laundry. A lot of them feel hushed and like they don't have a voice, and no one listens to them and no one takes them seriously.
The police chief has not responded to a list of questions we sent over to him via email. He is listed as a defendant in this federal lawsuit. So is one of his officers, a city council member, and the city of Trinidad.
All right, David, so you interviewed the mayor. Police chief didn't want to talk to you. I'm curious what the mayor's attitude or take on the police chief's actions regarding Jennifer Combs'
Well, I asked him
arrest.
I asked the mayor if he agrees with that arrest, and he really wouldn't take a side. He told me, in his words, he does not feel it's appropriate to comment, just saying that the case has been turned over to the Henderson County District Attorney's Office for prosecution. I've reached out to the DA's office to see if they will give us any sort of comment, what they think about the case, but at this point in time, we have not heard back.
Okay. Now, we've heard, well, I've heard, I should say, of cases like this happening in different parts of Europe, right? Different circumstances, but kind of the same situation. They don't want people speaking out about certain things, and so they will throw them into jail. Have you heard of a man named Tommy Robinson in particular? Just saying, look him up. This is a problem because would you want to bathe in brown water? You want to cook with brown water? She made a statement. She didn't make a claim. There's a difference because, see, a claim you have to substantiate. She made a statement. She said, if you are suffering these things, we've seen these things. That's a statement. That is not a claim. So to actually go after, because it's her First Amendment right to make a statement all day long. Even if it's wrong, she can. Okay. But for you to come out, oh, when I say you're going to lose. Now, it won't bankrupt the city. But what it will be is a wake-up call for those in Trinidad. Look, you need better people in office, obviously, that actually do care about your constitutional rights. Because all that gobbledygook that the chief of police said, that comes from a weird ideological mindset. And we've seen it. And it is like a cancer in our country that needs to stop. Okay, now let's get into a Promethean update.
The White House released its counterterrorism strategy, and it dropped a bombshell about the Muslim Brotherhood. And when you understand what that means, you'll understand why London is shaking right now. But if you don't go any further than looking at the mullahs and the IRGC, or if you're panicking about Sharia law coming to a town near you, you are going to miss the hand behind terrorism, dirty money, and perpetual war. I'm Susan Kokinda. For decades, I've tracked how the British Empire uses irregular warfare in the form of drugs and terrorism to keep nations and populations in line. Well, they've met their match in Donald Trump, and I'm going to look at what Scott Bessent said at the G7 finance ministers meeting and the pedigree of some of the companies that are being targeted by Treasury. Treasury rolled out a fresh round of designations against Iran's oil and proliferation networks. They do not all lead back to Tehran. Many of them lead to London. Here are some identifiable companies targeted under the Office of Foreign Assets Control. There's Musavi, a Hezbollah financing network, which has a London address. There's Thriving Times International, an exchange house network that has a London address. Then you have Global Fortune Shipping Limited and Science Obedient International Company Limited, both oil or LNG tankers that have London addresses. And then you have Sparkling Courage Limited, another tanker that is headquartered in the British Virgin Islands, one of the United Kingdom's overseas territories. And as I reported last month, when Treasury Secretary Bessent met with the British Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves, in Washington, Reeves was the only finance minister who got a warning from Bessent about Operation Economic Fury. which targets Iran's financing networks. Now, the mainstream press won't connect those dots, but the OFAC list is connecting them one designation at a time, and they point right at the City of London, with no room for excuses. Now, since the conflict with Iran broke out, Promethean Action has been pulling on the British strings that show Iran's real role on the geopolitical chessboard. The empire doesn't actually want the president's Iran moves to succeed, because every win for the president and the United States is a London loss.
Yeah. It just keeps getting more interesting, right? Right. And I will link the full video in the repost. So stay tuned. Now this next video we're going to get into, apparently, JD Vance has found $1.4 billion a day in fraud. And we have a deficit? Huh? Yeah, let's get it.
Welcome back. More looks at fraud. Investigative reporter Luke Rosiak will testify before the Senate Small Business Committee today after unveiling a fraud in Ohio's Medicaid program. The news drew attention from lawmakers, and Rosiak described billions of dollars worth of taxpayer-funded home health waiver programs. He claims the alleged healthcare providers operated in nearly empty offices. 2 Minnesota whistleblowers will also testify. They say they uncovered fraud within their state's Department of Human Services and were met with retaliation after no statewide action was taken. Joining me now for this Fox Business exclusive is Iowa Senator Joni Ernst. She's the chairman of the Senate Small Business and Entrepreneurs HIP Committee. Senator, it's good to see you this morning. Thank you so much for being here. Your reaction to all of this?
Yes, absolutely. Well, what we have discovered as I've worked through a number of these fraud cases is that we lose approximately $1.4 billion every single day to fraud. That's taxpayer money. It's real money, Maria. And so through these small business programs, we're now exposing people working within the system, actually working for our federal government agencies that are perpetuating the fraud. We've got, examples of a fraudfluencer who was using social media to recruit participants in a small business scheme, and she gained the system by about $3.5 million. We have another example of a VA representative who was really asking disabled veterans for bribes in order to get their disability paperwork done. So we have all kinds of bad actors out there. We're going to expose them today. I'm thankful for Luke Rosiak's great work and so many others that have really brought America's attention to the fraud that's being committed against the federal government and our taxpayers.
So where is this going? I mean, it's incredible how much fraud there was when you start looking under rocks here. And how come it's taken so long to actually identify this and do something about it? What are next steps then, Senator?
Right. Thank you, Maria, because I have worked on this issue for about 12 years now. There are a number of us that, before DOJ was cool, I've had my own efforts to uncover fraud, waste, and abuse within the federal government. But it has taken these media personalities, people that will bring it forward to the American people, because when I'm talking about it as Joni Ernst, a senator from Iowa, it's not that sexy and exciting. But when you have others that are able to push it nationwide to the media, it really does gain attention. So we're thankful for that. But we're referring these cases to the Office of Inspector General, putting together a case, and then hopefully it can be referred for prosecution so we can recover those taxpayer dollars.
Tell us about the other business at hand. I know Senate Republicans are considering losing Secret Service funding tied to the White House ballroom construction to move the GOP-led immigration enforcement bill forward. Where are you on that? Lawmakers advanced part of the bill yesterday as they aim to get the package to the president's desk by the end of the week. Is it doable?
I think it is doable, and I do think that we need to modernize those security efforts at the White House. We've seen examples just most recently at the White House Correspondents' Dinner where the president, the cabinet, and all of our correspondents were put in jeopardy by a gunman. If we can move those social activities on the premises of the White House, make sure it's secured, I think it's a great investment by the American people.
Well, that's why the president was defending the construction of the White House ballroom yesterday, saying it's not taxpayer funded. We spoke with Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty yesterday, and we talked about Tom Tillis. It seems like Tom Tillis is trying to just go against the president at every turn. Now he said he's not going to support the bill if the ballroom is in there. Here's what your colleague Bill Hagerty told me yesterday. Watch.
I can't articulate why one of my colleagues would withhold a vote for this. It makes complete sense to me. At the same time, that's only one vote. We just need to get past the 50-vote threshold here in the reconciliation package. So Tom Tillis cannot hold this up, nor can any one of us. The important thing here is that we need to fund ICE. We need to fund the Department of Homeland Security fully. And this $72 billion package is going to actually do what the Democrats have refused to do. And the Democrats have been willing to stand back and let this happen and defund the police here in America. That's not going to stand. Republicans will not allow it. The president's not going to allow it. We will get this done in a matter of days.
Senator, how confident are you? How confident are you that you get the reconciliation package to fund ICE and Border Patrol on the president's desk by June? And what are your thoughts about another reconciliation package before you leave for the August recess? Is that not doable in terms of the tight timing?
I think we can get this done, Maria. I am confident that we will get this bill to the president's desk. It's incredibly important to fund CBP and ICE, all those great officials that are out there making sure our nation is secure. And I think that we can do a reconciliation 3.0 as well. I'd love to have Democrats that are helping us get some of these initiatives over the finish line. I don't see that happening at this point. So reconciliation 3.0. Let's go ahead and do it. I'm all for it.
So what would be in a third package? Defense spending and what else?
Yes, and I would look at defense spending. Of course, that is my primary concern. I do sit on the Armed Services Committee. We want to make sure that our men and women in uniform are outfitted to the fullest extent to protect our nation.
Anything else?
And then we will take those on a case-by-case basis, Maria.
The president's political power certainly on full display this week after yesterday's primary elections. Incumbent Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie lost his primary bid to Trump-backed candidate El Galrein. Kentucky Congressman Andy Barr also won the GOP Senate primary. He was backed by the president. He's seen as a favorite to replace outgoing Senator Mitch McConnell. And then, of course, in Texas, President Trump endorsed AG Ken Paxton over Senator John Cornyn ahead of the Republican Senate runoff happening next week. You've said you're not seeking re-election. What can you tell us about what we learned this week from all these primaries and President Trump's favoring Ken Paxton over John Cornyn? Your reaction?
Yes, I do think that the president does hold sway over Republican voters, but I would also look at the quality of those candidates. If you look in Kentucky, Galrein, what a great candidate he is, and he's someone that served his nation honorably. We're extremely proud of his service. So I would look at both. There's going to be various endorsements through this process, but quality candidates. We need those people that are serious actors coming into the United States Congress representing the districts that they will serve.
How do you feel about the midterms, given all the changes on the maps and the congressional districting? Did that give Republicans an advantage in any way?
Well, I do think that people are going to look at the Republican platform, the safety and security of the United States, and I do think that that is going to be a big issue coming up this fall. If you look at what Democrats stand for, Republicans stand for, I think we're going to do quite well.
No, it's a good point. I mean, that's certainly what helped President Trump win the presidency, his focus on security, national security and private security. Senator, always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks, Maria.
Joni Ernst joining us.
Yeah, it's a mouthful. My goodness. But $1.4 billion a day. And now that's cumulative. That's not just in one state. That's cumulative of all 50 states. That we've got $1.4 billion worth of fraud going on daily. Now, before we get out of here, I wanted to play this video. It was very touching, and I was like, you know what? Father's Day is coming up, and I want the men out there, our leaders, to know that you are appreciated, right? You are appreciated. You need more respect. Just saying. The media has really, they've made men that want to be fathers look like idiots and nincompoops and lazy humans. But there are dads out there that, you know, they're dads for a reason, right?
Oh, you need to watch this one.
So, me and my wife were looking at some old home videos recently of our youngest daughter being born. I'm gonna show you the video. Not her being born, because my wife would be like, you doing what? We got some conflict we need to talk about. So it's a video of our youngest daughter being born. I took this video. The video you're about to watch is a video I took, but I didn't understand the power of it until I watched the video. So let me set it up for you. She's like 2.5 minutes old. Our daughter's 2.5 minutes old at the time. And they got her under that little chicken warmer at the hospital, the little thing to keep the french fries warm. I don't know what kind of insurance we had, but that's what they got her under. And the nurse is about to clean her up, and she starts to cry. I want you to notice what happens when she hears my voice.
Okay, Portland, look, I'm right here. It's okay, it's okay. I'm right here, I'm right here. We're doing just fine. It's okay. It's okay, I'm right here. Right here, yeah, it's okay. It's okay, baby.
Yo, so that was pretty powerful, right? Now it's like 7.5 minutes or so later. The nurse is done cleaning her up, and she starts to cry again. I speak up, and she stops crying again. But I want you to notice what happens when I tell her I love her.
Portland, it's okay. It's okay, it's good, it's good, it's good. I'm right here, I'm right here. I am right here. I love you, I love you, I love you. Yeah, I'm right here, I'm right here. It's okay, it's okay.
So here's the thing. There's going to be times in life where it feels like you're going from conflict to conflict to conflict. Or maybe you're just full of fear because of all the uncertainties right now. The key thing to do in those moments is to be still and listen for the Father's voice. Be still and listen for the Father's voice, because he is talking to you. And what he wants you to know is that he's right here. He loves you. All you have to do is open your eyes.
I was like, that was absolutely beautiful, because sometimes that's what we forget in all of this stuff. I saw some in the comments. They were just like, yeah, Fox agenda. Yeah, everybody's got an agenda. You know, I really wanted to see Massey go back, you know, because again, he is someone, he doesn't go along with what everybody's doing. And he did make it very difficult for a lot of members of, you know, the Senate, because he's doing his job. I guess women, he's a House representative, sorry. He's doing his job. And they don't want people in there doing their job. They want people in there that know how to follow someone else's lead and do the political theater, the political two-step. And the thing is, the tides are turning, and people no longer want that anymore. They want people in there that are going to be honest and truthful and not sell out. So we need to look at who's supporting these candidates, who their donors are. And if you do not want to have a candidate that looks like a NASCAR, then maybe you need to check out the USA Redemption Party, because we do need better candidates. We need servants of the people. So if you are someone out there who wants to run for political office, check out usaredemptionparty.com. That's usaredemptionparty.com. And I want to thank you guys for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News for Mighty Men Thursday. We will be back tomorrow for Prayer with Friday. So thanks again for joining me. And remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. We'll see you in the next one.